Welcome everyone to another two-tailed playthrough, and this time I bring to you Ghosts and Goblins for the NES. This game is easily one of the hardest games on the NES, but with a lot of practice, it's not really that bad. It starts out in the middle of this graveyard here, where our brave knight is having a little date with his princess. Why he stripped himself of his armor right away, I don't know. Maybe he was expecting some imminent action. But, to his dismay, Lucifer appeared out of nowhere and abducted his princess. I have no idea the reason behind this. Maybe she's needed for some sort of sacrifice. Nevertheless, our knight dons his armor once again and sets off to rescue her. Thus the game begins. Now you start off here in this graveyard with all these zombies coming at you. First thing you'll see me doing here is killing a bunch of them, and the reason for that is I'm trying to get them to drop a weapon. There it is. That weapon is the dagger, or sword. There are 5 different weapons in this game. The javelin, which you start with, the dagger that I have now, a torch, which we'll probably see numerous times, an axe, which we'll see later in the game, and a cross, which we will also see later in the game. The dagger is, in my opinion, the best, and several people will agree with me, as I've read it in FAQs and on boards and stuff when I did research on this game to practice it. It is the fastest, and while each weapon does the same amount of damage, you can throw these daggers just so fast that they can take out pretty much any enemy you throw them at. Now here we are about halfway through the first level. That little shuriken thing is actually an item that reduces the amount of time you have. It's supposed to take away 30 seconds off your timer, as you can see the timer in the top left corner there. But all I've noticed is a slight score reduction, if that. I don't know. Prefer not to chance it. As we make our way through this little forest here, we're being attacked by flying burrito monsters that like to pop out and make a very annoying noise, as well as throw leeks at us, onion leeks, sort of like the one that the Pokemon Farfetch'd has. And with that, we have our first boss, who is annihilated pretty quick, as you can see the strength of these daggers. That boss was called the Unicorn, as while it isn't like the mythical creature, it did have a bright red horn and is supposed to have really insane strength, but I took him out too quick for him to really show it off. I wasn't going to let him show it off anyway. And here we are at the second level, a little castle here, with a very annoying enemy, the blue demons, popping out of windows, and sometimes out of item bags that can drop money and weapons. They have very unusual patterns and are very tough to get rid of if you don't get rid of them really quick. But once that area is done, and thankfully it is very short, you come to the next area in the game, and in my opinion, the hardest part of the game. The castle, I guess it's a haunted house, really, not a castle, I'm sorry. The reason for that is it's filled with these gigantic bald men who want to bend you over and abuse you. Okay, they don't want to do that, but they do poop on you if you watch them carefully, like this guy here. You have to fight with them to get them to move out of the way of the ladder, otherwise as soon as you pop up, they'll just charge you and take you down. There was one doing a poop attack, as I've come to call it. Also, from this point on, these stupid annoying purple birds, blue-purple birds, will continue to come at random from both directions of the screen, thankfully not at the same time, and have those strange arcing patterns that make them tricky to hit. Combine that with the bald men, who are actually called strong men, and you get one hell of a time. The bald men take 10 hits to take down with any weapon. But thankfully the dagger is fast enough that if you get a bit of distance between you and just keep mashing the button, they'll go down pretty quick. Now, as I've been rambling here, I'm already just about through the second level, and thankfully this game is pretty short, as it's very, very tough. I'm making it look easy, I'm sure, but it's much tougher than this. I've died many times here just trying to get through this part alone. I mean, these platforms are really crappy. The bald men are insanely strong. The birds suck. So you're looking at obstacle after obstacle trying to take you out. And add to that a very horrible jumping control as he jumps, well, horribly. It's very stiff and sluggish. Factor all that stuff in and you got a really big challenge. Now here's the second boss, which is not one unicorn, but 2 unicorns. I guess they ran out of ideas, but you can actually fight them one at a time as long as you don't move too far over, and it's pretty easy. Defeating them gets you the key, which opens the door to the next part of the level. As we now look at our map, this icon of our hero's head on a stick marks where we are. And it's kind of weird because the level marker is at the very end of the level rather at the very beginning, making some people think that you're starting at that level rather than the level you are at. Sorry if that was a little confusing there. Nevertheless, we're at level 3, which is a cave level where the zombies make an appearance, but hey, I'd rather have them than the bald men any day. Also, we have these strange towers that glow white and red. And there's the torch, excuse me. The torch is the worst weapon in the game, as not only is it very slow, but when it hits the ground, in what might seem like a pretty cool thing, it erupts into a small pillar of fire. The bad thing is, you can't throw another one out until the fire goes away. You can only have a maximum of 2 on the screen at once, and until they go away, which can usually take a couple seconds, you're pretty much stuck. You're defenseless from all oncoming attacks, as you have nothing to throw at them. Thankfully, the dagger is much better than that. Now, the red tower thingies I've been attacking, you can only hit them when they're red, so when you gotta hit them fast before they go white again, or you're gonna be in a bit of a trouble. But thankfully, their attack is easy to dodge, as you can either duck it or jump over it quite easily. As we're going through this cave here, the burrito monsters make a comeback, as I pick up a frog statue there for some points. Points are just for show, really. If you get a game over, your points go back to 0, so it's a pretty big accomplishment to have a nice high score in this game, because it means you didn't die. That right there was the infamous Red Demon, as he is one of the hardest enemies in this game, as he not only looks down at you sneering as a hey, I'm better than you, you can't touch me kind of way, but his arcing patterns and fireball of death are a force to be reckoned with, as he can easily take you out in just 2 hits, as your armor flies away as soon as you get hit, as I'm sure you've noticed. No idea why that is, actually. I mean, you'd think armor would be more durable than that, but unfortunately it isn't. Here we are with the 3rd boss, as my armor just went flying off again, leaving our poor knight in his underwear. Now that was the dragon, and it actually only takes about 5 to 8 daggers to the head to take him out. You can take out his other pieces, making him a little easier to dodge, but you really only need to hit the head. Like I said, with the 5 to 8 hits, he's done, and now we can proceed to level 4, which is another cave level, but this time we're riding these annoying eyeball rafts. I mentioned earlier that the jumping control is terrible, as you jump straight up or straight at an angle, and there's little to no control in the air. You can change what direction you're facing when you're falling, but you can't change your path at all. When you're falling in either a diagonal or straight down, and there's no change whatsoever, like in Mario or other games where jumping is involved. Now, right there, I got hit by a red demon and lost my armor. Unfortunately, there is no bonus armor in this level, as there is one in every other level that I discovered. Well, discovered thanks to the help of an FAQ, rather. So we're stuck going across this bridge of death, filled with these blue demons coming from the surface, and now lava plumes that come up from the ground. Thankfully, the lava is easy to dodge with a little bit of patience and timing, and then we can continue onward. Just gotta watch the blue demons. If you can take them out while there's only 1 on the screen, you'll be okay, but if you continue moving with them following you, you'll quickly be overwhelmed, and then you'll be in trouble. Now we got rid of those 2. Now that flashing king statue there, it's pretty random which ones will turn you into a frog and which ones will not. Some of them, when you get them, will indeed turn you into a frog, and you'll be in a lot of trouble. As a frog, you can't do anything but just hop around for a good minute or so. Actually, it's more like 10 seconds. But still, that 10 seconds can be deadly if you're surrounded by a whole ton of enemies. Now, what I just did there was a little glitch that the FAQ I got it from called the hit and run glitch, where if you just hit the red demon and run at the same time, if you go far enough away and wait about 5 seconds, he will not follow you. I decided to use that there because I don't have any armor and I'm not about to risk getting hit and dying, as I'm trying to do this without dying. So far, I think I've done a pretty good job. Now we're at level 4. I'm sorry, level 5. The base of this castle, where, well, this is Satan's castle, rather. This is the hardest level, and while I don't disagree with them, I still think the second half of level 2 is harder, as this has no bald men, in the beginning anyway, though it is filled with burrito monsters that come in a never-ending swarm, blue demons that now shoot fireballs at us, and these little skeletons in the